Blessed noon to all of you here in the Philippines. I just would like to say thank you to Brother Jess for planting the seed of faith in each and every one of us, being instrument of God in planting that seed of faith. Or else all of this is useless. When we have faith, we are always constantly being called by God to look into the mirror. As we have heard in the first question about St. Augustine, how he said that my soul will not rest until it rests in you, my God. Who among you here would not look at the mirror to look at himself, herself, isn't it? So we are made in the image and likeness of God. So there's a tendency for us to look into the mirror, to see God in us. And that from which it is important to see God more fully as God himself, not to see ourselves. Sometimes that's the fallacy. If we look at ourselves and looking for God and we see only ourselves, we end up looking at ourselves as our own God. And that is the greatest fallacy. But when we look at ourselves in the mirror of faith, then we understand that God is there with us, omnipresent. He's always there. And that is what Augustine was trying to say, that he was trying to tell us that we have to look in the mirror of faith. It is a spiritual introspection. It is a understanding that all of us will not find fulfillment, meaning, nor the gift of what beyond what limits us, or the beyond what we see as death itself, if we do not see it in the eyes of faith. So St. Augustine found that secret. And that is why even God spoke to him in these words, Augustine, I love you not because you are beautiful. In fact, you are beautiful because I love you. And that, I do believe, is the affirmation that Augustine was already seeing God in the mirror of his faith. And not only that he sees God, God is working with him. God is moving him. God is projecting himself through him. That is why holiness becomes the sense that we see in people who are always mirroring God in their lives, in their relationship. And that from which we come to see beyond what limits us. We work beyond what we see as frustration and at the same time negative. We go beyond sin by having to humble ourselves and use that the sense of the greater power of God. There is a greater power present, actually, and that from which we acknowledge. So I do believe this is where all this interplay of our faith comes and makes us all the more not only see God in our lives, see beyond in our insight and outlook to life, where God is present, but also from which we see God in others, and how we would be able to relate with others, even in our sinfulness, even in our human weakness, even in this imperfect world that we live out of original sin. We see God still saving us, and for us, allowing God to save us by our cooperation. And that is what Brother Jess said, when we surrender our intellect and will to God. Thank you.